Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. Yes, indeed. Everyone, thank you so much for being with me. Magnificent indeed. Let me make a little adjustment here. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Man, welcome. True indeed. Magnificent. Uh I love you all. Thank you all. We made it to the 21st episode, the final episode of season number 2 of Building with Big King Worldwide Movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Brother Michael Washington in the building. Thank you, brethren. Thank you, thank you, thank you. True indeed. Man, I appreciate it. Somebody else out there, hey, anybody who chimes in now, please feel free to go ahead and just jump in. Introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to say hi to you. If not, just fall back either way you want to do it. Thank you for being here with us. As hopefully more people chime in on this final episode of season number 2, right? I'm going to offer up again a song from off the new album, right? A very apropos song, I would say, right? And that's the worldwide movement. I hope y'all hear that loud and clear. They won't find a way to stop me. Indigenous guard incarnate, spiritual essence of the whole galaxy and beyond it. Strong with 8 chakras in his earthly presence. Rebirth the essence of the true immortal grand masters. Soul's lessons open portals for the DNA strands faster. Bring you back from the soulless ignorance they cast ya. No disaster, not before nor after. Smash the ore, coming out with steel. That's my city. That's my city. Come on, holler at me. Keep the feel of the power of the throne with me. Come on, get me like I got you. I watch your sides and your front and your back. It's the feel of the people's consciousness rising. It's the fear in the devil's eyes when we linking up and start enterprising. The demise is right here in this town we all prove it. It's the worldwide movement. It's the chime on the clock when the stroke midnight. So the world government's time to get your shit right. Ignite strength for the people for the freedom when they choose it. Got the crystals in effect, y'all. I'll be closer to your heart than the pictures on your tattoos. They put corruption in the lyrics and the artists and the tracks too. They set the meter straight to low vibe. They used to hype to pull a slow job on your drive. But right here it just don't slide. No sir, not here, not on my watch. So my words resonate on every single block. For my G's and thugs, salam to all my ox. We never falling back, we never gon' drop. Power to the people until the evil stops. Stop. Now tell me, what happens if we get just 10% of the world's population mobilized against the agenda of the socially economic elite? Well, that's about 800 million folks. It's the fear of the people's consciousness rising. It's the fear in the devil's eyes when we linking up and start enterprising. The demise is right here in this town we all prove it. It's the worldwide movement. It's the chime on the clock when the stroke midnight. So the world government's time to get your shit right. Ignite strength for the people total freedom when they choose it. It's the worldwide movement. worldwide movement. Let's get a shout out to everybody. Of course, Sister Carrie's in the house. We can go ahead and let another one play. This is another song off the new album since we're in celebration mode. It's called Hip Hop Hop. We got Alicia in the house. What's up, cuz? We got Brother Michael in the house. Salute to you. We got Brother Sean Johnson in the building. Salute to your family. Michael Washington, Sister Carrie, Brother Sean, Alicia, we rolling with Bryce. That's Sean Management now. Man, this is magnificent. I'm so excited. To make you reconsider, Big King's the firstborn male, the Pharaoh shivers, cause I seem to represent the end of the chapter. What could really go wrong? What could they really be after? Is it really respect? Okay. Why not just take it right along, then break it, crack his jaw and shake it with everything that's in his pockets, just to set the example. Big King's the type of thing they really can't handle. Scandal how a style was completely dismantled and left in the basement. All right, y'all. I'm feeling magnificent. I'm hope y'all feeling as magnificent, if not more magnificent than I am. Right? And true indeed, magnificent, man. Thank you all for being with me once again. Another episode, the final episode of the second season of Building with Big King. Thank y'all for making the forum strong. True indeed. Thank you all. I appreciate you tremendously. All right, now, we're going to be building on a subject that in itself is magnificent, right? Just as is each and every one of you is and are. So we posed the question, what does an ascended human look like? All right. We always hear that term thrown around, or we tend to throw around the term ascension, right? Meaning to have elevated in some form or state or stature, right? And we speak of ascended human beings, right? Meaning to have ascended in some state. Now, I think that we open up a pretty vast sort of realm of subject matter as we venture forward from here, right? Because we now start to draw into multiple disciplines, which is good because we want all faculties of investigation available to us as we go forward in an investigative manner, covering all these different subjects, right? But in particular, we want to be thinking about, again, what does an ascended human being look like? All right. So what are we talking about when we say ascended? Again, we're talking about having traversed into some higher state. Generally, we're referring to higher consciousness, right? That's generally what all of this has been about, right? Human beings have been sort of muttering about, and what we will likely identify in some future point as sort of the barbaric ages, right? Where human beings have learned to deal with and to sort of socially maneuver around and with one another in a way that has been far less than humane and could arguably be considered barbaric, right?
and it could very well be or very easily be used as a description of where our society has gotten to, as being barbaric, right? In terms of our treatment of one another, our modalities for problem solving, right? Our relatability to one another in social class systems, particularly socioeconomic systems, right? Um, and our indifference toward one another in terms of human suffering, our lack of compassion for the human condition in the case of many people has become documented. So, we are talking about transcending upwardly out of those myopic mind states, right? Um, Sort of attempting to transcend these things in terms of selfishness, right? And looking more at the whole as opposed to the individual, even though this is an individual and collective process. Let me jump in here real quick. Sean says, I think we are ascended consciously. Yes, yes, that's I definitely would agree that I'm certainly saying that the process of ascension has got to start and to be one of ascending in one's consciousness, in an individual's consciousness, and also in group consciousness, because ultimately, are we not ascending as a species, right? So we have to consider the ramifications not only of our own individual ascension, right, but a collective ascension, right? Um, so, I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? Ascending in higher consciousness, which has some very powerful ramifications to it, right? Um, if we are talking about ascending in consciousness, then we are also talking about resonating in a high vibrational frequency, an ascended vibrational frequency state, right? If that is the case, then there are some implications and applications to that have to be considered, right? Um, for example, if we're looking to ascend into higher consciousness, then we are ascending mentally, spiritually, and physically, right, into a higher vibrational frequency state, right? Now, on some level, your consciousness encompasses all of that. Um, if we are doing that, then we are essentially entering into the process of creating within our physical bodies, within our minds, and within our spirits, right? A higher vibrational frequency resonance. Now, if you'll remember, we talked about DNA and how DNA expresses itself at higher degrees of efficacy if it is in a high vibrational frequency setting, right? Or a high vibrational frequency environment. So, what is the vibrational frequency environment that houses your DNA? That would be your physical corporeal being, right? Okay. So, if you are raising your vibrational frequency resonance physically, and your physical body is what houses your your physical DNA, right? Then any altering in state that encompasses your physical body as well as your emotional or spiritual aspect of consciousness, then all of that has got to be considered, right? So your vibrational frequency as a physical being is resonating at a higher vibrational frequency now. So that means your environment or the environment of your DNA, which is your physical body, is now at a higher vibrational frequency resonance. So what again do we say happens to DNA if it is exposed to or exists in a higher vibrational frequency resonance? It will begin to express itself into higher degrees of efficacy, meaning a higher percentage of the DNA information is expressed, right? Remember, that's what the DNA is. It is a modality for transferring that information, right? So, if the DNA is in a higher vibrational frequency environment, which is your body, then the DNA is expressing more fully. Your DNA expresses literally more of the information. Consider it to be like, it's not what it actually is, but consider DNA to be like a little capsule, right? That's just filled to the brim with all of this information that says what you are, particularly your physical makeup. All of that information, right? If it's in a higher field of resonance, more of the information is going to actually get out. Folks, I don't think that we really be grasping enough of this. We talked about it a little bit where we said if you know you get a computer and you bring it home and the computer is only like 30% of what it's supposed to be in terms of how it operates, you're going to run back to the store and get your money back for that computer. If you go and buy a car and your car only operates at 30% of what it's supposed to be, you're going to go flying back to that dealership to get your money back. If you go to the grocery store and you get some bread and it turns out to be only 30% of what the loaf of bread is supposed to be, you hear me? You're flying back to the grocery store to get your money. So why are human beings so comfortable with existing only exhibiting around 30% of what we are? It literally baffles me. It doesn't, because I understand how social engineering works and how many layers of indoctrination have been applied to us from the time we were born till now. But it really is quite a feat what they've gotten us to believe and to be all right with, right? This is like big time stuff, folks. This is what you are. We've allowed ourselves to be indoctrinated into a point where we're comfortable only being 30% of ourselves and living the American dream. What? Come on, man. Stop it. We living, hold on. I thought what we was trying to do was live our best life. Huh? Don't we talk about all the time being our best selves, living our best life? Huh? How you gonna live your best life if you're not your best and bettering self, best and bettering, right? How can you be your best self if you don't understand anything about who and what you are? How can you be your best self? How can your body even be its best self if we don't put what's best for our bodies into our body? How can we have the best mind if we don't have our mind focused on what's best for us? How can we be our most intelligent selves if we don't feed ourselves the information that our intellect stars for? How can we be our best selves if only 30% of us? How can we be our best selves if we are fine and comfortable with only expressing 30% of the information that says what you are as a human being? We got to grasp the importance of this. Yeah, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you. Because this is important and powerful, right? Like, to be a human being is truly these days talked about and supposed to be such a really demoralizing thing, right? Because all we can continue to focus on and express is our flaws, right? Like, how can you even have? It's a wonder that as a species we have any esteem. Like, where's our self-esteem as a species that we are comfortable with this? We really, I think we really ought to pose that question to ourselves. Where are we as a species, as a civilization, if we have accepted only being 30% of our potential as that species? That don't even sound right. It don't even sound like a well-placed goal. My goal is to be 30% of myself. What? Come on, man. 30%? That's not how is that acceptable? No wonder AI, we would have the wonder or the concern of AI being developed with a low opinion of human beings. Well, because the people who are currently developing this generation of AI, most of them grew up as, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but quote unquote computer nerds who have, and I've been a nerd at times myself in life, so don't take it as a disrespect or disparagement. I'm using it more in a descriptive way, right? Where there are people who have a higher um, opinion of machines than they do people, right? I know a lot of folks who will tell you, I don't like people, and mean it, right? Unfortunately, some of those people are, a lot of those people are the tech minded individuals who would be involved in the development of things like AI, right? So if you have people developed involved in the development of AI, me too, me too. Oh, okay, word life, bro. If thanks, Mike. If we, you know, are entrusting the generational development of AI to people um, with not a very good feeling or concept about themselves, because they are human beings and then not the species, human beings in general, and who obviously have based their limited scope of humanity's potential on the 30% that we pretty much been shooting as our regular. I mean, to me, it just screams that the obvious thing would be to work on getting to higher expressions of what a human being is, of getting that 30% way up. Like that seems to be the goal. And then what would a generation or generations of AI that were raised with that sort of a mentality that human beings have a great potential that should be strived for to be achieved, and AI would live to assist that, right? Understanding the great potential of human beings rather than the flawed perception that is likely the perception of those who are currently developing AI. I think that's a very interesting place um, of thought, so to speak. But anyway, let me give y'all some shouts out. I appreciate y'all so much for being in here with me. Y'all keeps it 100, and I love you all, and some more hundreds. Yeah, right. Truly, thank you. Um, I said I was gonna start putting this other stuff in here at the beginning. The rumble.com channel, real quick, is EKS Light. Bang. Cash up for contribution. Use. Um, okay, cool. I'll throw that in there real quick. All right, y'all. But really, I just think that it's a heck of a snow job, like a heck of a mind numb, right? A heck of a job of numbing our minds to the point that we are accepting of 30% or so of ourselves. And I keep harboring on 30%, y'all, because that's what scientists with geneticists have generally um, agreed on as a consensus, that most human beings are exhibiting somewhere in the low 30s in terms of the percentage of the DNA information that's expressed. Um, I'm just not accepting of that. I think that's a low goal for us to be all right with that. Um, and so I ask, what does an ascended human being look like? Again, an ascended human being as a person who is ascended into higher consciousness, having done so, created for themselves a higher vibrational frequency environment in which their DNA is fostered. Having done that, they've created a scenario where their DNA has indeed an opportunity, or its best opportunity, to develop, to express more of the information that is stored therein, and thus convey more of exactly what we are as human beings, and see higher and higher percentages of our true I think that's probably the best way for us to evolve, at least first, is to be more and more of what we're actually designed to be. I mean, think about, doesn't that make sense to you? That if humanity is going to go forward with any form of an evolution or an ascension, that it would only make sense for us to go forward in a higher consciousness, right? We need to get rid of the drive of everything off of war, for example, right? it's too we've grown into a mentality where they've got us accepting that war is good every so often because it drives up industry. No, war is never good because you're slaughtering human beings, and that's savage and barbaric. And that's the kind of mentality that we have to show the ability to ascend out of, people, right? We really do have to be much more mature, in my estimation, of a species, and of as individuals, we have to show a more mature, a more spiritually matured psyche, right? Where human beings really show that we can grow beyond the grossly myopic and selfish drives that have pushed the way humanity has behaved. So essentially, that has driven the old paradigm. We're forming a new paradigm. That's what we're doing here, folks. You're building with Big King. We're laying down the bricks, building this brand new paradigm, right? Um, where we're surging powerfully forward in this paradigm that we like to say exhibits and really exudes peace, love, respect. We're going out of the old paradigm, right? That exhibited misery, pain, and hate into this new high vibrational frequency paradigm that exhibits the concepts of peace, love, respect. Um, so even the paradigm we're moving into is a high vibrational frequency paradigm, folks. We are setting ourselves up for evolution, for an ascension, right? Not just as individuals, although, and another flash of the crystal, y'all. Hope y'all like that. It's a beautiful crystal that I love and I always imbue with true love, gratitude, energy, creative energy, right? All right. I had to slap that up there one more again. But yeah, we really have to do that. As a species, we have to set ourselves up, continue to set ourselves up uh, uh, to exhibit our highest states of potential, right? And this is about um, bringing the attainment of our potential to fruition, both individually and collectively as a species, right? Does that sound like a good goal to you? Right? We've got great potential as individuals and as a species. Why not make our goal to attain more of it, right? Attain more of our potential individually and collectively as a species. That sounds like a mature, ascending civilization rather than one that would devolve back into the misery, pain, and hate of the old paradigm that shows that. Um, Perfect example of a difference between the two. So, the socially economic elite chose at one point to back Thomas Edison, with his ideas, for example, of centralized power, right? Where your electricity lines all go back to a centralized power source that can charge you money for it. Thank Thomas Edison for that system. And the elites certainly ran to back that and did not back Nikola Tesla, who wanted to offer us a system where we would just have purchased a quote unquote Tesla box that would have given us the ability to tap into 0 point energy, free flowing energy. We would have only had to purchase the box one time, and you would have been able to have electricity for your house, for your vehicle, your devices, whatever. But that's an example of choosing the old low vibrational frequency paradigm over the kind of thing that we can have in a new paradigm. Just like we go downtown to any city, you see trees lining the city blocks, right? Not planted there by the store owners or business owners, but more so by that city. Why couldn't those trees be fruit bearing trees, right? That would give you, like apple trees, pear trees. We could have some strawberry bushes. We could have vegetation of all sorts just about growing all over the place. Now, couldn't we? But then you wouldn't be running to any of the grocery stores to make your purchases there. It's about a system that was chosen to usurp us and keep us in a state of misery, pain, and hate, right? A state where there would be haves and have nots, and people would literally have to work and struggle and toil to survive, right? It simply does not have to be that way. Most of us can't actually perceive it in our minds. Um, but if you just stop and think of it, I gave you two very clear examples of how it could be different, right? We could have free food everywhere. We could have free energy. Wonder what we could accomplish with that. Just a thought, right? Wonder what we could accomplish with that. Folks, human beings have so much latent potential that we are not utilizing, right? First of all, quite honestly, it's not just something that was part of movies. It's and do the free thinking research on your own. Don't take my word. But it's kind of known in the scientific community with the higher degrees of DNA efficacy or full expression, we would start to see certain things be commonplace in human beings, like certain abilities, uh, uh, telekinesis and telepathy and things of that nature would be commonplace, right? Should be commonplace. In fact, if you go to what the ancestors have relayed over in the African continent, it was commonplace, at least amongst the melanated peoples of that continent, and likely the indigenous of this continent as well. All right. Um, Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Yes, babe, true indeed. Um, so like the one part is us grasping the fact that we've been somehow narrowed or pigeonholed into this mentality that is accepting so much less of ourselves. And then on the other hand, there's us reaching and grasping for higher aspects of ourselves, right? We need to think more with inquisitive, free thinking thought that demands free thinking, independent research, right? When you think out of the box that is prepared for you, you are no longer satisfied with the results of query that are pre-prepared for you. You want open results of query and investigation that yield you the ability to have, again, free thinking, independent research, yielding your independent results and allowing you to come up with your own conclusions, right? Not having somebody say, no, we think it's misleading if you go with it. This is misinformation and we got to censor this. And come on, man, there's a reason why someone wants to control what you have access to, especially when it is in regard to what you are as a human being. Look at what has happened and how individuals who have stumbled across amazing things and aspects of humanity's ability to heal themselves and how they had become targets once they relayed that information to others, right? You know, there's a reason for this, folks. These industries are like incredible money makers, right? Like the trillions and trillions of dollars that come from these industries is the motivation for them to keep these things from you, right? Think of the trillions of dollars from the food industries, the trillions of dollars from the fossil fuel industries, right? All of these trillions of dollars for this and for that, they're not willing to let go of it easily, but that doesn't mean it's not best for you. The question is, are you willing to live the rest of your life in a box that is good for you because the socially economic elite of this world, the cabal of globalists, say that it's best for you because in reality it's actually best for them? Is that the box that you want for yourself, your children, your family to live in? Is what we've got to ask ourselves. Or do we actually want to be our best selves, living our best lives? What are we talking about here? Right? Are we really debating with ourselves as to whether or not we want to be our best self? Huh? How did they do this, folks? How did they get us to this point? It's amazing. It's amazing that they have successfully uh, uh, gotten us so, like, I hate to say it, but it begs the description of brainwashing. It's so brainwashed that we're going to question whether or not it should be like a top goal of ours to be our best selves, to be 100% of what we're intended to be, if not at least close to it. Right? So, and I don't blame us because, you know, again, most of us have been too busy just trying to survive, working, paying bills, right? How could I blame somebody for that? If not the system that strives to keep us all that way, right? Instead of actually being our best selves and living our best lives, having a little bit more time for each other, for our families, right? Not giving all our time to some corporate entity, essentially mortgaging our time to be able to earn a living for ourselves, right? How can we have a little bit more invested in our own health, that our diet um, would begin to reflect that all aspects of our health would begin to reflect that. Um, how are we going to be a little more invested in ourselves collectively, that we can start to show more compassion and involvement in each other's lives on the community or neighborhood level, and then, you know, extending to all levels upward, right? You know, city, state, the, the whole nine. I mean, folks, we have got to become more involved instead of apathetically allowing people who we just put in places to just handle it all and then give us a little briefing. That's always a bad recipe, right? And it was for us and still is. We've got to take it upon ourselves, take ownership upon ourselves to truly be our best, excuse me, our best selves and live our best lives. And we've got to investigate and look into what that looks like, right? Every day What am I going to wake up and eat and put into my body that it's supporting me living my best life and being my best self? That for myself and my family. Every day, what am I going to put into my mind, right? What am I going to read or allow myself to view? What am I going to digest that's going to make me a better person for me and my family, and etc. Um, every day, what sorts of things am I going to allow to be stimuli in my life for me to be the best version of me for myself, for my family and extended family, and etc. Um, every single day, what can I do to contribute to my life becoming better, making myself be in a better position to provide a better life for my family, and moving forward, and what can I do as at least some small contribution to the collective to make it better for everyone, right? I think if we're all living in those sort of higher standards for ourselves, that we'll all be contributing as much as we can, which is a great deal, um, toward our paradigm shift that I think we vehemently need to be focused on, right? We've got a lot of work to do still. We really have a great deal of work to do, but we can get it done, is the thing. We have opportunity. Time is not too late, right? Um, we can see ourselves start to actually attain higher percentages of ourself, of our potential. We can claim more of that, right? We can claim those kind of victories personally and for our collectives. We can do this. I think we just need to get started now. Right? Um, man, because you all are so magnificent, right? And just that we made it through all of this to get to this point is a magnificent thing in itself, right? Anybody who's living on the planet right now is magnificent and really needs to wake up, look in the mirror, and take a bow for themselves and a round of applause and however else you need to celebrate yourself every single day, really, right? And appreciate yourself and start with that, with being your best self. Start with a high outlook for yourself. If you don't start with that high self-esteem first, folks, you got nothing left to give for anybody else. You got to believe in yourself. You got to celebrate the beautiful expression that your creator has made that is you. You are all magnificent. I can't get that across to you vehemently enough. And know that every time you wake up, I mean, folks, and I do need to do this, and I might need to employ someone's aid, but I really need to get and capture everything I do. Like from the time my wake up is truly an elaborate and magnificent thing every day. And I set my day based on that and from that point every day. And I have not had a bad day in close to 8 years. Huh? And it's not about bragging. I mean, again, like I said, I go through things in my life same way anybody else does, right? Tragedy is touched and befallen my life and different things, and things happen and all of that. But never once can I think back on any of those days and say, oh man, I'm having a terrible day. I'm having a bad day. I always go through what I need to go through, live, process, grow from it, and really appreciate it is the way that I have grown as an individual, becoming and ascending into my best version of me, right? And every day I have an opportunity to do that. How could that be a bad day? That's a great day. That's a great day. And then all the other stuff that I'm spewing into it, right? All the love and all the abundance, health, wealth, love, and life, and all, man. I'm telling you, how you wake up and begin your day is very important. Set and prescribe your day for yourself every day. What kind of day I want to have? Magnificent day. Okay, what's that look like? All right, let's go live it. Right? Let's go live it. Every day I strive to grow on the path of being my best self and living my best life. And again, I can only prescribe that for us individually and collectively. I mean, the box of what we expect of ourselves is so constricted, right? We're really shrunken in our perception of what our potential is. In all things, we tend to adopt and accept this thing of, well, that's impossible, right? Human beings can't do that. There's so many things that human beings do that they say are impossible, right? What about the woman in what's the woman's name? I had it right here too. A couple things. Let me read to y'all briefly. Couple things, real quick. Hmm. Okay. Here's the woman's name. Actually, in 1982, woman named Angela Cavallo, right? Woman from Lawrenceville, Georgia, lifted a 1964 Chevrolet Impala to save her son. Tony was the young man's name, from being crushed after the car fell off of its jacks. By herself, one woman lifted a car up in the air to keep her baby from being crushed. They call that hysterical strength. It's supposed to be impossible, right? How about spontaneous remission, right? People who have been declared stage 4 or past, where there's nothing essentially that medical professionals can do except provide ease of pain, right? But essentially, you're going to die, is what they say, right? Well, there have been individuals who have, from that point, had spontaneous remission of their cancer, and the cancer just went away, completely unexplainable by medical professionals. They healed. Completely unexplainable. Yes, it can happen, brother. Yes, yes. I've seen examples of it happen, right? What about Tibetan monks doing all sorts of things that they say is impossible? Standing at a 45-degree angle on a wall with their feet literally coming out sideways from a wall. Um, The one woman, what was her name? Where'd I write it? The one woman, famous French explorer. Her name was Alexandra David Neal. In 1924, when she visited Tibet and checked out the monks, she stated that she eyewitnessed the following. Okay. This woman says that she witnessed one of the masters. And when we talk about mastery, we all know we're talking about self mastery. Alicia jumps in and says, you cannot say, uh, I'm sorry, Alicia. Oh, you cannot stay in the same place. Yes, true indeed. True indeed. Got to be transcendent, right? So this woman states that, and this is again the famous French explorer known as Alexandra David Neal in 1924. She says that when she visited Tibet and visited the monks, that she eyewitnessed one of the masters first enter into a deep trance, right? Chanting and going in, and through meditation, get to a trance-like state. And then she says she eyewitnessed him leap rapidly in the air about 30 feet. And then she said he literally flew forward about 100 feet, descended rapidly, tapped his foot off the ground, and took off and did it again. Not me saying it. Not me saying it. These are due to independent free thinking research. These are the accounts of a famous French explorer, Alexandre David Neal, from 1924. And just so that you know, there are tons of people from all different walks of life who have made similar accounts about the Tibetan monks and their abilities. There was also relayed that Tibetan monks, certain ones, masters, have been seen to spew fire from their mouth. Right? I'm telling you, some of the things that human beings have been said to be capable of are mind blowing. But then again, we're only operating off of 30% of that. Right? So only operating off of 30% has us in that position where we have to live in that box of limitation. Or at least that is what's prescribed for us currently by society, right? But when we escape that box of limitation, then we find ourselves in position to entertain a whole host of possibilities, some of which have already been realized by other human beings. And I suggest to you that if it's capable or potentially capable of one human being doing it, then why can't any other human being do it? Right? We're all human beings. Now, you could say the discipline and all that. Okay, working toward the goal is understood, and having to take on different physical disciplines and so forth. Yes, all of that is likely part of the requisite. They say one of the requisites of mastery is 10,000 hours of practice into a particular discipline, right? So essentially working for it. We understand that aspect. But other than that, if it's possible for one human being to do it, it should be possible for another human being to do it. It just makes sense. Folks, there's even discoveries being made that human beings have the potential to regenerate limbs, right? There's so many avenues of human potential that have been untapped and have been left for us to explore with a new set of parameters, a new set of undefined expectations, right? Once we move forward with our minds open and not contained in a box of perception that is prescribed for us, right? Someone has told you from the second that you were born what you could and could not be. And essentially, you believe it. Don't we all? Don't we all? Don't we all? So, all I'm suggesting, folks, just a suggestion, that maybe we give a little free thinking thought into being our best selves. Sister Carrie comes in and says, that is some truth right there. You have to speak it into existence. Yes, indeed. We have to speak it into existence. First, we have to allow it to even be a thought form in our minds, right? And I'm pointing to my head, but your mind is actually not contained in your head. We had that discussion before. But yeah, there's so many things that we don't even allow to be a potential in our minds, let alone to go the next step, which is to speak it into existence. We don't even let it be a potential in our mind for us to even imagine it, right? We got to get our imagination back, y'all. How many of us are walking around essentially with no imagination? Think about that part of it, or a highly dampened or hampered imagination. Think about that part of it. Huh? We got to get our imagination back. How do you set green dreams and lofty goals for yourself if you have no imagination? If you cannot see yourself anything other than what you show up as in your current daily roles, right? You've got to see yourself first, at least as being more, right? And isn't that what humanity is striving to do, to ascend, to evolve, to see ourselves as more, and then to be more by living that out? That's what we're talking about. Being our best selves so that we at least have the opportunity, the chance to live our best lives. What y'all think about it? Anybody else that has any other questions that they want to ask, any statements that they want to make, or comments that they want to add, please jump in there. Jump in there and hit me with something, because I love to hear further what y'all think about this, man. I mean, I just think that I hope this was some sort of a culmination for the season, because really I would love for us to take all, not only just this season, but last season too, take it all and use it to really start to look into what we can do individually and collectively to be better, to be more, right? To grow our absolute best selves and to live our best lives. That is important. Certainly the kind of thing that we should give a little thought to and a lot of practice, right? give a little thought to it at least, and a lot of practice in how we live our lives. Right? All right, folks, come on now. Anybody got any more questions to ask, comments to add, statements to make? Please jump on in and slide it on into the chat. And share with us all, man. I again, let me, before we go any further, as we get ready to wind down the final episode of the first the second season of Building with Big King Sadiq. Let me again express my gratitude, my heartfelt, true, deep gratitude to all of you. I love you all. I thank you all truly. Family, thank you for this forum, what it has been. And we'll be back for at least one more season. So we'll see what it will be, right? But this has been magnificent so far altogether. It's been a magnificent ride, and certainly this season as well has been a magnificent ride. Thank you all so much. Truly, I love you and I thank you all. Please know that, really. This is truly means a great deal to me. So I consider just this episode, this season, all of it to be a tremendous accomplishment that I could not have done without you, that we have done together. So thank you all. Truly, thank you. I love you all. Know that. Man. So and please continue to support the channel Big King Sadiq on YouTube, on rumble.com, BKS Lights right there in the chat. Any way that you feel or see fit to support my books on Amazon, both paperback and ebook. And the first book is also an audiobook on audible.com. The first book also, that title, Peace, Love, Respect, This is the New Way, is through the Library of Accessible Media, a part of the National Library of Congress, made accessible for all individuals who may need to utilize an audiobook. So that's special and important. Very glad and grateful for that accomplishment and achievement. So the books, the music, right? We got a new album. We're in the studio right now putting together. We got a few songs off the new album already recorded, and we're about to get right back in there and finish this thing up and get that released to all of you. Look for an LP coming very soon that will precede the album. Check out the new Steeler channel, Steelers Game Prep. Any way that you can help and support, I appreciate you all. Please continue to help me with the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect, man. This has been magnificent, very rewarding, to say the least. Indeed. So anybody else with any statements that they need to make, any comments they want to add, or any questions that they want to ask? Thank you, Sister Carrie, for the love. Thank you. True indeed. Word life. I appreciate you. Definitely. Every week, Sister Carrie was right in here with me, catching the synchronicity, the 5. She was even catching the 333. So thank you so much, dear. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. I give you all big salute. Thank you all so much. I can't say how much I appreciate and love you all. Again, thank you. Really, thank you. And like I said, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back at least one more season, at least one more again. We'll at least do one more season. So this has been magnificent. I thank you all. I love you all. I appreciate you all tremendously. Man, I don't know what else to say except please continue to help forge and to grow the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq, I love you all. I'm out.